Good morning you guys, it's Karen and I wanted to do a video on how to stop your dog jumping, because this is something that we have had as an issue with our dog for 3 years. He's just turned 3 and we have only in the last little while managed to get on top of it. I have to say though, it's not because we were trying and failing, it's because we decided that we were okay with him jumping up at us and we had managed to stop him jumping up at strangers. The problem is and was that he has hip dysplasia and we found that out, and we didn't want him jumping in the way that he was. So when my husband comes in, he will jump almost up to face level, and that isn't great for his joints. The first thing that we did when we were trying to stop Watson jumping up at strangers, jumping and pushing was the worst thing. It was very worrying when he was doing that because, you know, he would do it to anybody. It was when he loved people and he would bounce up and push, and he could have easily knocked somebody over. You know, I just always had visions of a little old lady getting knocked over by him. So we had already taught him Find It, which is, you know, putting little treats in places and getting him to sniff them out. So we just started to incorporate that outside. So if he was running towards somebody and jumping up, we would shout Find It and throw a treat towards him, and he would then become more interested in the treat than the person. It needs to be a high level treat, so something like a hot dog cut up or something like that. And I know I told somebody in around where we live this trick, and she did use it with success as well. One of her dogs was constantly jumping up and she now uses the Find It, and I've heard her husband using it, and it's wonderful. It really is good. That's obviously only going to work if you have a food motivated dog. If your dog is ball obsessed, then I would suggest just saying where's your ball or something like that and bouncing the ball. Obviously you'd need to be careful throwing it. You wouldn't want to throw it at the person they were jumping up at, but where's your ball and bouncing the ball, or if they like a squeaky toy, something like that to distract them and just play a game with them, and then they should get out of the habit. Something else we did was we asked people that were our friends that he was still jumping on to turn their back, and if they could, to just constantly turn away whilst he was jumping up at them, and that's what our walker is doing, and I think that has had a huge impact on him because he is so happy to see people and he's happy to see the walker. He wants to get out for a walk, and he has now learned from her just constantly turning around that as soon as his bum's on the floor, not only does he get a treat, he's told pause on the floor. That's the command we use, simply because we didn't want to say down because he struggles with lie down and we didn't want to confuse him. So we say pause on the floor, good boy, and he gets a treat, and then he gets to go for a walk, and that seems to have worked very well. So if you can recruit as many people as possible that he does jump on, to say can you turn away from him please, and completely ignore him, don't speak to him, don't do anything, and the minute his paws are on the floor, get down and give him a lot of fuss. That should help as well. You can add in a command to tell him not to be jumping up. So for example, if he jumped up to me, our kind of command for we don't want you to do that, we don't use no really. Well, sometimes we do, but it's normally and that really works well with Watson. You need to figure out the word and the tone that works really well with your dog. Certainly the times I use is when he's on our leather sofa after he's had a bath. He likes to do this, to scramble. I don't mind him doing it on the carpet. It doesn't seem to make any difference to the carpet, but obviously I don't want him doing it on the leather sofa. So as soon as he does that, I'm like and he stops immediately. And so that seems to have translated into jumping up as well. And then the minute his paws hit the floor, he gets the treat. I just want to say, you can, in my opinion, still have a dog jumping up at you when you come in and being happy to see you. You don't have to cut it out completely, because that's why we didn't change his behaviour 100%, because he jumps all over my husband when he comes in, and we had no issue with that, and my husband enjoyed that, you know, and he still does that. My husband tends to bend down so that he's not jumping up and hurting his joints, but what you can do if you want to still have that welcome but maybe redirect it is you can train them to go and get you a toy. So if you train them to find a toy and bring it to you, name the toy, then when you come in you can say go get me Ronnie or whatever toy is their favourite toy, and then have a little game with them so that you're acknowledging and having fun with them and acknowledging that they're happy to see you. The final thing we did, which was again very successful, was to put Watson on a lead when we had guests, because the guests were generally my dad or Kev's parents, and none of them wanted to be jumped all over by a dog, and Watson was always excited to see them. And so when that didn't go down very well the first time, understandably, the second time they visited, we put him on a lead. And that way you can hold him back and say no, and he gets to understand very quickly that he's not going to be able to say hello to anybody until he's calm and isn't jumping on them. And the minute he was calm and sitting, we would let him off, but if he jumped on them, we'd take him back and put him back on the lead again. And that worked very, very well. All of this training combined has meant that now finally he does not jump up and push at, there was 2 people left that he was always jumping up and sort of saying hello. He was very excited to see them, and it's his little friend that he plays with. It was their parents, but I can't remember the last time he jumped up and pushed them, and so that's really, really good. He doesn't jump up at them at all. He goes up to say hello and he sort of jumps, but before them, you know, sort of jumps as if to say hiya, and then goes off to play with his friend Lola. So it really has worked for us. And then this morning when the walker arrived, he is still jumping up to her, but he's not doing the bounce jump, which is great. And he's definitely, he understands now that he needs to put his bum on the floor, and then he'll get his lead on, because what she's doing is holding his lead, and as soon as his bum's on the floor, she clips on his lead and gives him a treat. And the time between him jumping over her and getting his bum on the floor is getting less and less and less. You can see it's just that he's so excited, it's hard for him to control himself. I hope that this has been useful. The whole idea of my channel is to try to make dogs' lives better, and I know that people will get frustrated with your dog if they're jumping up, some people, and you don't want that. And also this is hopefully giving you some ideas of how you can train them to stop jumping without any negative training methods. These are all positive reinforcement training methods. So thank you so much for watching. I wish you the very best. If anybody has any other tips of how to do this, please leave them in the comments below. Anything regarding shock collars or spraying something in the dog's face or anything like that, I will just remove, I'm afraid. I don't believe in that at all. I don't believe there's any need to turn to those type of methods. So but if you've got any suggestions that are positive, please feel free to leave them in the comments. It's helpful to everybody, I'm sure. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you soon.